How about the guy? How about the guy who went from here to here to here again? LeBron.
Well,
Speaking of LeBron, he was obviously courtside. I know he used Game Time to buy that ticket yesterday.
Mike, can I finish our point here before we transition me over?
Well, you LeBron me to LeBron.
But wait a second. I wanted their comments on LeBron.
I don't know that LeBron.
Does that not count?
I don't think
Fans
LeBron
hated
fits.
him.
They did hate him.
Yeah, they did.
But they only hated him because he left, and they loved him again because he came back.
Right.
That's it. Like
That's true.
That's
now,
it.
and now he's stamped. You can't hate him ever again.
Oh, there's still plenty of
there's
people who
still-
hate him.
How can you
I
hate
hear
him?
from people
Haters.
all the time
For sure.
that
Large
don't-
contingent out in Geauga County.
that
No,
don't want him back.
Nobody hates LeBron.
Oh,
I think I was one of those dopes about a year
sound
ago said he didn't want him back.
I sound like the clan on Django. Nobody said we didn't appreciate what Jenny did. That's how I feel about this. But no, nobody hates LeBron. Nobody.
Oh,
He
yes,
won a
they do.
championship.
Oh,
Why
yes,
would
they
they
do.
hate LeBron?
You're naive.
I'm putting in the
Tyvus.
poll
Y'all
right
gotta
now,
check this out.
Tyvus.
There's
he left us twice.
So what?
That's
He
what
delivered his
I
spot.
heard from these
Agreed, but
people
there's a
all the
small
time.
percentage of fans
Oh, it's
who
not
are like
small.
that.
They
It's
need
not
to.
small.
They ungrateful. That's what
true.
Kyrie said. They're ungrateful.
Well, Kyrie's a dope. Let's be honest.
He's like my second favorite basketball player.
Oh,
I can't justify what all the off the court stuff on the court. That
he
man
is a dumbass. Let's face it. Go ahead.
So
Mike.
we know LeBron used Game Time to get those courtside tickets last night.
course.
I'm sure he
Him
did.
and him and his wife.
Isn't that funny
Savannah,
that the
sitting
richest
courtside.
people don't have to pay for anything? What a world.
He used the game.
He used Game Time. He got $20 off,
Sure he
just
did.
like us,
Go
LeBron,
ahead.
certified Game Time user. But Jason, that's your guy. What'd you make of LeBron deciding to come to Cleveland and sit courtside for a playoff game on national television with all the other circumstances swirling around his offseason?
Well, I had to pick my teeth up off the floor after you called me and said what you had heard, that he was coming last night. I never would have guessed in a million years LeBron would show up at a Cavs playoff game. I mean, listen, first thing I thought was, well, the only other time this man has come to a Cavs game as a spectator since he entered the league was in March of 2014 when they retired Z's jersey, and he came back that night.
Big Z.
And sure enough, 4 months later, he came back for good. And this was totally unprompted, completely unnecessary, and he just showed up again. So, I mean, he was in town. I love the Brian picture. He was in town for Mother's Day. You know, him and Savannah came back to see the moms for Mother's Day because obviously his season ended early. And how many Mother's Days has he really had the opportunity to spend with? You know, so that's why they were here. And I think he's going to Chicago from here to go to the NBA Combine. But I mean, it's wild. And people can say, "Oh, he's just leveraging the Lakers. He's just putting pressure on the Lakers." But he doesn't have to. The Lakers have already said, yes, we will take Bronny. We will give you a max deal. They can offer him a 3-year, $164 million deal this summer. They said, done. Like, there is nothing. He's got him, period. They'll give him whatever he wants. So I don't necessarily buy that it's a leverage play or a power play on the Lakers because they'll already, this isn't like Pat Riley would not cave to LeBron in Miami. The Lakers are just laying back and saying, whatever you want.
Spread eagle.
Spread 'em.
Whatever you want.
So I don't know if it's necessarily a power play on the Lakers.
No,
I'm
LeBron came to this game clearly to see one thing. Let me see what they look like. You know, obviously I get to see them on TV. Let me just see what they look like. I think, to be honest with you, it would make the NBA better next season if two moves happen. LeBron went back to the Cavs, and Kevin Durant went back to OKC. I think both of them would actually.
Does OKC want Durant?
I don't know, but if he said he wanted to go back to where
He's
started,
still one of the top players. Why would you not?
he would fit perfectly with them. But
And
I
he
would.
fits with them too. That's the
I
part.
think
He would fit
that
really
would
well.
those two moves would make the NBA very interesting.
It would be phenomenal if both of those
because
moves
they both
happened.
went back to where they started.
Yes.
Kevin Durant, although people say, "Oh, he's going back to the #1 team in the West," he can stay. I
he's
want to
used to
go.
doing
I
that.
want to get a championship where I started my career. I want to end where I started my career.
He would be terrific on that team. I
know.
He would be terrific.
What's more likely, LeBron to the Cavs or Durant to Oklahoma City?
Don't make me answer that.
Let's put up a poll. Should we make Jason answer that question?
Should we make Jason?
It's the Cavs, obviously.
Put in a poll.
Yeah.
By the way, we put the poll up, so we have to end the poll to put a new poll up. We asked, does anyone still hate LeBron? 12% said yes, they still hate LeBron.
Yeah.
Hey, that's sick. Y'all,
It is sick.
I thought it'd be higher.
Y'all need to be.
I would have guessed 15 to 20%, or maybe even higher than that.
That's ridiculous.
I don't disagree.
So you've been a fan of Cleveland sports all these years, and nobody's won anything. You hate the guy that brought the championship that ended the drought?
Yep.
How can that be?
People are.
How
crazy.
can that doesn't even begin?
But-
And then on top of that,
Yeah.
they screwed LeBron his last year. They got rid of Kyrie, traded him
did
for
screw
a
him,
bag
you're
of
right.
chips, and said, "Here, you take this trash lineup and you go to the finals with that." And he still did it.
It feels so good to hear somebody other than me scream that, because
What are you talking about? We've been screaming that for years.
People just gloss over that. That like
They did him
They
wrong
traded
his last year.
They screwed him, no
They
doubt.
did him so wrong.
they traded Kyrie for a draft pick. They started the rebuild while LeBron was still
That
here
was stupid.
with a chance to win another championship. Now it's worked out. I still think they could have won that championship. They absolutely could have won the championship in 18. They could have had 2
Who's
titles.
their best player there? Jordan Clarkson?
Oh my God in heaven! No, I mean Kevin was their second best player.
Oh, yeah, Kevin was still
Kevin's
here.
still in the league, by the way.
Yeah.
He's with the Heat.
Yeah, he was with Miami.
Did he play for them at all? in the
Yeah.
playoffs?
Yeah, heck yeah, he did.
Jason, let's talk about if LeBron came back.
Okay.
If was a fifth.
Looking at this current team, well, first of all, how would you facilitate it money wise to get him back?
Garland's gone.
You either have to make a trade for him,
Okay,
and you have to make the money match,
Okay.
which means you're moving on from 1 or 2 key pieces, which
Right.
I can't believe that they would do that. Like, I just don't see the Cavs picking 2 pieces, valuable pieces, and moving on for a 39-year-old LeBron.
So Garland and Mobley's gone.
I don't think it would be those 2. There is a trade that works
okay.
money-wise. The other option, and I know this is, I don't think he would do this, but he told me in 2022 at All-Star Weekend, I would do whatever it takes to play with my son. It's not about money at that point. So if you're the Cavs, you tell him, all right, we'll take Bronny. You come back and play on the mid-level.
But he wouldn't do that, would he?
He just said whatever it takes. I would do
believe
whatever.
that? He would do that?
I just said, I don't know how realistic
Wait
it
a
is.
minute. You mean to tell me he will opt out of his, what's his?
$51 million
He would
I mean, the
leave.
guy is a billionaire.
I
at this
don't
point in his
care.
career.
So what? Nobody ever
right.
got, whoever said they didn't want more money.
Which is
Well, let
why
me ask you.
you're 100% right, which is why I don't think it's realistic. But if you're asking how does it work,
Yeah.
that's one way it works. We'll take Bronny at 17.
and the Cavs
you
keep
come
their
play on the
whole
mid-level.
roster.
Real
And they
quick,
keep the whole
Mike,
roster.
hold on before you jump your comment in. Do you think this has ever happened, and could this happen with LeBron? They pay him the mid-level exception, and Dan Gilbert pays him the rest of the money under the table.
I'm sure it's happened before. I'm sure it's happened before.
Go ahead.
Just so
funny.
people understand, these are the 4 ways LeBron could join a team this summer, essentially, and this is specifically for the Cavs.
Yeah.
They do have a $13 million, it's 12.9 mid-level exception to use this summer. He could always sign for the veteran minimum. He opts into his player option for $51 million and then demands a trade, or he opts out and the Cavs and Lakers can work some sort of sign and trade together. Those are the 4 actual avenues for LeBron to return to Cleveland in some capacity.
Well,
this
let
summer.
me ask you guys this. If he signed, let's say you sign him to the mid-level exception,
Yeah.
could they then at the end of the year pay him a max extension? Or is there something about signing a mid-level exception that prevents a guy from
It's a good question,
Yeah.
and I don't remember the CBA particularly. I don't want to
Right.
say something incorrect. I'd have to go back and look at the CBA.
Right.
There's rules about, like the Lakers can only offer 3 years because of his age. Once you cross a certain age, you can only extend a guy 3
Okay,
years.
that makes sense.
So it's the max that the Lakers can sign him for this summer is 3 years, 164. Now, could he sign a 1-year deal on the mid-level?
And then get 3 years whatever after, so he'd make the same money
but
over 4 years.
But he's not going to play 4 more years. is the
But
thing.
they give it to him anyway because he agreed to play for nothing this year, essentially.
I mean, but he's not going to be in the league. He's not going to play 4 more years.
He won't, no chance?
No, he's not playing 4 more years.
When is
I
his-
think you get 2 at most.
What's his youngest?
I mean, he could play 4 years.
How many years to
Bryce.
his youngest son? He got
Bryce?
2 more years.
Bryce
in high
is
school
a
or 1 year?
sophomore, right? Is he
Is
sophomore?
he? I thought he was a junior.
Maybe
No, I
he's-
think he's going to be
He'll be
he's
a
2
senior.
years younger than Bronny, so he was a junior this year.
Okay. So he'll
believe
be
I'll
He's
double
he
check.
could be in the NBA in
3 years.
3 years.
He's not going to stick around that long.
By the way, how big is Bryce?
To the end. He's bigger than Bronny.
6'7".
He's bigger
Bryce
than
is listed on 247 as a 6'4" class of 2025 shooting guard.
I don't know how tall. I know he's bigger than Bronny. I don't know.
Yeah.
They lie all the time on those. Yes, you found out.
I can't believe that. My heart broke. It did. 6'1".
But let me ask you
I'm
this.
bigger than that. I'm taller than
I think you got 2 years of LeBron left.
Okay.
At most.
Let's be crazy and say LeBron comes back to Cleveland on the mid-level exception. Let's be crazy.
Okay.
Okay? What would LeBron want the Cavs to do with this roster? Like, would he want Garland out? Would
Darius is a clutch client.
so he'd want him here.
I think you'd want him here.
So what about Donovan?
his role.
He doesn't want Donovan out, right?
I don't think, regardless of the LeBron thing,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make massive changes to this roster.
You said that to me last week.
But I'm holding back a little bit because I'm not 100% positive.
On what Donovan's going to do.
No, it's not even the Donovan piece. I'm just not sure. But I actually think Donovan's going to stay.
I told you last
I
week.
think
I'm leaning towards that way.
What has changed your mind on this?
Just the way he's been acting.
Something has changed with Don. I mean, he tucked people around the building. Like,
Yeah.
he's just different the last few weeks. But beyond that,
Where's he going to go?
Well, he's got number one. He's got calf and knee injuries right now.
Yeah.
Take the money. Like, it's probably minor and insignificant.
Yeah.
You got $200 million in front of you this summer. Bend down and pick it up. Like, take the money.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. Like, all you're doing is you're kicking the can down the road a year. We've talked about
He
that.
can demand a trade later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the money now. You give this thing one more year
Yeah.
to see where it goes. I'm sure they'll make whatever changes he wants to make. And again, we're setting the LeBron piece aside. This is only the Donovan piece. And I think he's gonna sign. I think he's gonna stay. And I don't think that they're gonna make massive changes. LeBron has been highly, again, go back to the All-Star weekend in 2022 when I was talking to him. He was highly complimentary of this roster. He loved the Jared Allen trade.
Yeah.
This is a couple years ago.
He loved Mobley, didn't he?
Yeah,
Because they asked him about it.
He was
He said
highly
they got it
complimentary
right.
of Kobe and the job that Kobe's done in rebuilding this roster. And Kobe and LeBron didn't see eye to eye when he was here.
Yeah, because he gave him a bag of chips on the way out the door.
But Kobe was in a really tough spot.
He was.
Like that, he was thrust into a terrible position.
I mean,
LeBron's
LeBron
last
on
year.
this team, they're the favorites to win it all.
Absolutely.
Unless Kevin Durant go back to OKC.
No, if you put LeBron on this team, they're going to the finals.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
I wanna
and that's-
know-
and
I
that's-
wanna
and
know
he
how that
knows
looks.
Yeah.
And he also knows, like that ovation that he got last night.
Yeah.
He's not getting that in LA.
No.
LA has never, and I think he's never said this. I think it surprised him how chilly his reception has been. Like, he's been there for years now, and he's like, it's
Kobe.
they still look at him as, you'll never be Kobe. Like, you're not Kobe to us. You're never
and
going
you're
to be
not
Kobe to
Kareem,
us.
and you're not Magic,
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on.
And I mean,
Because all of his accomplishments
we're
was
elsewhere.
elsewhere.
I mean,
he
I
did
know
win the one.
Everybody
He
looks
won the
at that
bubble.
ring as fraudulent.
but
Come on, it's a
I'm
COVID
telling
ring.
you, I was not in the bubble.
Yeah.
You talk to anybody who was in the bubble, and they will tell you that was legit. That was really hard. Just emotionally, mentally, it was a taxing time, and that ring counts. But I know publicly people dismiss it. But he did win a championship there. But he will never be loved in LA the way that he was cheered last night. And I think that matters to him. So I've said like most people think I'm crazy and there's no chance, and he's going back to LA. Savannah is set up in LA. She ain't coming back to Cleveland. Like, she's not coming back. And he's never lived away from his family. That matters. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. And I do think he's going to spend his retired years in LA. He's setting himself up for that. So would you really leave now?
She ain't coming back.
She's not coming back.
Go ahead, Mike.
If you look at the videos, it looks like LeBron was having a much better time than Savannah last
Wait a minute.
agree.
What if,
One last question, then we'll talk Guardians because we got a guest coming on. But big picture, LeBron sitting courtside, is that more of a scouting trip or a power play? What do you think?
both?
I think it was no one has mentioned LeBron's name in a week and a half, so he's going to fix that.
You're right.
And he's going to make sure that everyone's talking about LeBron. And it worked because here we are.
wait a
Savannah did look miserable. She
Yes.
did look like she had no
Yes.
interest in being there whatsoever.
Wait a minute. Glad you brought her up.
Yeah. The hat?
No, not that.
Oh, yeah.
Their youngest son, Bryce.
Yeah.
if he decides to come to, let's say he just goes to the Ohio State University because it's a really great place to be, would she come to the games?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
she would come to the games.
Okay, just.
They can go anywhere they want. They could be there in no time.
But she loves her life in LA.
Loves
Yeah.
everyone
Does
I've
he
talked
have his own
to.
private jet?
I don't.
But
I don't know. I think
he
he's-
has one to use
yeah,
whenever he needs it.
Yeah. But here's one thing before
Yeah.
we move on real quick.
Yeah, let's do the Guardians after.
Well, Brooks is not ready yet, so we'll start
all right.
Guardians. We got two different Guardians things, but last thing.
I was having a conversation with
Yeah.
somebody in the league a couple weeks ago, and this was a really interesting thought. And I didn't write this, but like 2014, okay, you're talking to LeBron, and I don't know that this happened.
The year he
believe that
showed
this
up and
did
stole
happen.
my jersey. Go ahead.
I
What
don't
about
believe
it?
that this did happen. But let's say 2014, Cavs are negotiating with LeBron to come back.
Yeah.
Dan's in his house in Miami. They're repairing the wounds from the
Right.
letter and all that. LeBron says, I'll come back if you grant me one wish. When my youngest son is draft eligible, you take him in the first round.
Ooh.
Would you do it?
Wait
in
a-
2014.
In 2014,
If LeBron said, the only thing I want, I'll come back. The only thing, I'm not saying this happened.
okay.
you're saying if I'm Dan, would I
I'm saying
hold up my
if you're
end
the
up?
Cavs,
Yeah.
If you're the Cavs,
Yeah.
Of course.
I will come back on one condition. You
Yeah.
take my son in the first round when he's draft eligible.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course you would.
So let me ask you this.
And again, I don't want to get this clipped in me saying that this happened.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this happened. I don't think this did happen. But I'm just saying, would you spend a first round pick for a championship?
But
Of course.
let me ask you this on that, because I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to ask you this, but I got sidetracked. McNuggets, don't the Lakers pick before the Cavs in the first round?
They do.
So if the Lakers said, screw you, LeBron, we're going to take Bronny, even if you did want to go back to Cleveland.
Well,
how would that?
But that brings up another whole set of questions. Is that the Lakers now can bundle that pick with future picks, and they can go out and get a star, maybe a Donovan Mitchell. Although I don't think that's going to be. But I'm just saying. So the Lakers are now in position to bundle that pick. So are they better off drafting Bronny at 17? Are they better off bundling up all of these picks and going out and trading for a star and trying to get Bronny in the second round? Are you know what I mean? Like,
But Jason, is the 17th pick worth that much?
Isn't Jason Tatum
In this
there?
year's draft, which
they're
is
terrible.
week,
Yeah.
the one thing people say is it's not that it lacks talent, just there's not a number one guy. So the best player in the draft could be drafted between 12 and 20 this year because there's no consensus on who the top guys are. So this is a weird draft where the 17th pick may be a little more valuable than another draft where there's a bona fide lock to go the first couple people.
Zach
if that makes
Edey.
sense.
so I'm just like that's why this whole thing is so like all these pieces are weaved together. Like the Lakers want a star, and the Lakers have been watching the Donovan situation in Cleveland. How's this going to play out? Can we bundle our picks and go get Donovan? Meanwhile, the Cavs are watching LeBron walk into their court, sit courtside like it's just crazy how this is all tangled together and how this is all weaved together. And yeah, the Lakers pick. And another wrinkle to this, the Pelicans technically own the Lakers pick. So the Pelicans could take that pick as the final piece to the Anthony Davis trade. Now, from all indications, they're not. They're going to defer to next year, and they're going to take the Lakers pick next year. But, I mean, theoretically,
Well, they think the Lakers are going to be worse.
When do they got to have a decision on that?
Yeah, because they want to know if LeBron.
is LeBron going to be there or not?
and I don't know the hard deadline. I don't know if it's been reported. I think it's somewhere around like June 1st
Yeah.
that they have
well,
to
the
declare.
NBA, the draft happens before free agency, right?
Yeah, the draft is in
Right.
June.
So they won't know.
But it sounds like the Pelicans are going to defer and take the Lakers pick next year. But, I mean, theoretically, they could take the Lakers pick now as the final piece to the Anthony Davis trade from however many
June
years
1st.
ago.
That's the deadline.
June 1st is the deadline? Okay. So, I mean, this whole thing is just, it's complicated,
you got
man.
a Google message.
It's complicated.
I seen it on his watch.
Let's hope it I mean, if LeBron came back another time, that would just be.
It would be
LeBron to Cleveland, Kevin Durant to OKC. Make the NBA better.
Would Dave McMenamin be back to Cleveland?
I actually joked with him last night and said, I can't wait until you have to come back. I will help you house hunt.
And his response?
No.
Can you not say it on the air?
He's not coming back.
Not coming
He's
back.
not coming
He
back.
loves his LA life.
He's about to get married.
He's a fancy schmancy LA guy now.
Yeah, he's staying.